Hi, welcome to the video about self-defense, the facts, put together by USI and Christine Johnston. We're going to start with some general definitions. Rape is sexual intercourse with a person without his or her consent through force, threat, and/or intimidation, or when the person is unable to consent. Sexual assault is sexual abuse, fondling, or touching of a person in areas of the body considered private, without his or her consent by force, threat, or intimidation, or when the person is unable to consent. Stalking is legally defined as a repeated course of conduct intended to cause fear of bodily harm or death. Generally, someone commits stalking if he or she makes a credible threat to another person, and in connection with the threat, repeatedly makes any form of communication with that person or a member of that person's immediate family. A credible threat is when someone causes someone else to fear for his or her safety or their family's safety. Stalking can also occur when an individual makes repeated obscene comments or gestures to another person with the intent to harass them. What is consent? Consent is an active, positive, verbal agreement to participate in the sexual activity. The absence of a no does not mean a yes. Someone who's intoxicated cannot legally give consent. An act of intercourse is rape if it occurs when the victim is mentally incapacitated or physically helpless. Examples include alcohol or drug use, sex with an unconscious individual, sex with an individual with limited mental capacity, or sex with a minor. A person can give consent to some activities, but not to others. Consent is never implied by clothing, past behavior, or relationship status, and consent can never be assumed. Self-defense in the law. Individuals do have a right to defend themselves whenever it is necessary, with as much force as necessary to ensure their safety when assaulted or detained against their will. However, there are some important things to keep in mind. The defensive actions must be required to extract oneself from the situation, and the defensive actions and force being used must be reasonable under the circumstances. An individual must be protecting themselves from imminent harm of injury, sexual assault, and/or unlawful detention or abduction. The force used in defense must be responding to an ongoing and presently imminent threat. If there is a situation in which you would have the right to defend yourself under the criteria above, then you have the right to assist another person in self-defense. However, it is usually safer to call law enforcement immediately. Now we're going to talk about some rape myths and the truths. Myth: sexual assault will not happen to anyone I know. Truth: 20 to 25% of women will be raped or experience an attempted rape during their college career. Myth: only women are victims of sexual assault. Truth: a victim of sexual assault can be of any age, race, class, gender, or sexual orientation. 1 in 10 victims of sexual assault are male. Myth: most sexual assaults are committed by strangers. Truth: while strangers can commit sexual assault, 90% of sexual assaults among college students occur between people who know each other. Myth: sexual assaults usually happen in deserted areas like garages, stairwells, or wooded areas. Truth: while sexual assault can occur in deserted areas, more than 90% of completed rapes that occur on campus take place in a residence, and about 60% occur in the victim's residence. Myth: if a person is raped while he or she is drunk, he or she is at least somewhat responsible. Truth: it is always the offender's fault if he or she chooses to sexually assault someone else. The choices a victim made prior to the assault should not be a justification for sexual assault. An offender who has consumed alcohol is not relieved of his or her responsibilities. No one asked to be assaulted, and remember, consent: if you're drunk, you did not legally give it. Myth: victims of sexual assault ask for it by their choices or actions prior to the assault. Truth: clothing choices, using alcohol, or going to a party are not invitations to be assaulted. Nobody asks or deserves to be sexually assaulted. Victims, it is not your fault. Myth: most rapes involve the use of a date rape drug. Truth: In 75% of the cases, the victim, offender, or both had been drinking. Date rape drugs may be used in as few as 2% of assaults. Alcohol remains the #1 date rape drug. A special note on date rape drugs: girls, remember your Smart Girl 101. Only consume drinks that you opened or prepared, or watched being opened and prepared. Avoid the community trough. If you abandon your drink, get a new one. If it looks or tastes strange, get a new one. Remember, alcohol itself is the #1 date rape drug. If you choose to drink, drink wisely. And girls, stick together. Watch out for each other while you're out there partying. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like and comment below.